Hey everybody, welcome to Aniki, the podcast about anime with two brothers. I'm Ben.
And I'm recording live from the Seattle Chaz.
Oh dear. That's very topical.
I'm not actually. I'm quite far away from the Seattle Chaz, but it's worth it to say Chaz.
I wonder how dated that reference is going to be by the time the episode releases in
Heaven
like
only
4 days.
knows. Who knows?
We live in crazy times, man.
Well, we do.
What have you been doing since the occupation started?
Since the occupation started, I rewatched Gurren Lagann.
That's a trip.
Yeah.
What prompted you to do that?
I felt like it.
Fair. At some point, we need to watch the show that came out, I think it was right after Gurren Lagann, by Trigger. Do you know what that is? It's not Kill la Kill.
Well, technically it is, but sure.
No,
what
there's one in between. Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt.
Not technically Trigger, just the Trigger crew. Just like technically, Gurren Lagann is not Trigger. It's still under Gainax, technically. The first thing put out by Trigger was actually the Little Witch Academia short.
That is true.
The first one. And then Kill la Kill.
However, Panty and Stocking was born after all the guys from Gurren Lagann went out drinking to an onsen after completing their big endeavor, started pitching the stupidest ideas, and someone said, well, we have all this money, and we have all these ideas.
Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. Why
don't we just do the things? And they did. I don't know if there's a better pitch than that. Other than maybe, hey guys, what if your right hand was actually your girlfriend?
What if?
What if?
I have to say that Kill la Kill is definitely better than Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. As much as I do like Gurren Lagann, they really refined it when they went to do Kill la Kill.
They did. Gurren Lagann drags for a bit there in the middle.
Yeah, it kind of does. Though, again, Kill la Kill's kind of bad until episode 8. Well, episode 7, I think, is the one that's just rot garbage. And then the rest of the show's good.
Which episode is episode 7?
It's the one where they have to run up the hill, I think.
I don't even remember them running up the hill. So.
It's very bad.
There you go.
It's a bad episode. Of course, then again, Gurren Lagann does have episode 4, which is also terrible.
Fair. Let's see. What have I been doing? Watching a lot of Cross Game, which we'll get to in a minute.
Good.
Watching Tower of God. That's still something else. And reading a lot of manga. Still.
Well, there you go.
Different ones this time. I decided to read Even So, Ayumu Draws Closer to the End Game, which is about...
All right.
It's a shogi romance.
A
shogi romance.
Yeah, I was trying to combine the two words, okay? Shiromance. Hey, speaking of shogi, you can play it on the new Switch game.
Yeah, and you can play Mahjong, too.
You can reach Mahjong, real Mahjong.
It's delightful.
Only 2 wins, but, it is what it is.
Only 2 wins? Like Hanchan?
Yeah. You can do east only or east south, and that's it. You can't do a full 4.
No one does a full 4. That's Chinese Mahjong.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
We used to do it. We used to play for 4.
That's crazy. I don't know anybody that plays that long. That's like 4 hours.
It's a while.
Jeez.
We do Thursday nights.
I need to find more people to play that. I need to find more suckers to play that.
Hey, even on club games, it's like, it has a wicked learning curve, but it's worth it. It's like, yeah, that's about all you can say about Reach Mahjong.
It doesn't
it's
have
got a hell of a learning curve, but it's worth it.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to teach.
Pretty awful learning curve. It's like Gin Rummy, but the hands are weird, and there's not a whole lot of consistency to them.
Take Gin Rummy, add chess, and there you go.
It's not at all like chess.
It's just like chess. Actually, what is it more like? You got to play the other people, not the hand per se. But not as much as poker. Anyway, the premise of this manga is there's a shogi club consisting of 2 people. The girl's the older one, the boy's the younger one, and he just flat out says, I think you're cute and beautiful. He doesn't say, I want to go out with you, because he's decided that he's not going to confess, per se, until he finally beats her legitly. There's no bones about what's going on. Everybody knows.
Bones. So it's high score girl, but shogi.
Yes.
Okay, fair enough.
And with cute characters instead of weird CG ones. But
yeah, well,
it's cute. It's silly. That's about it. A lot of cross game. A lot of baseball.
Good.
I've missed baseball.
Who hasn't?
Are we ever getting baseball again?
They say we are.
I don't believe them.
They say by the 4th of July.
Technically, baseball will be back, but will we have baseball players?
One can hope.
That's really the thing. Well, if you're aching for baseball players right now, there's a good alternative.
Which is Cross
You
Game.
can watch Cross Game.
Watch Cross Game, or just read it. But watch Cross Game.
Good show.
Cross Game, Cross Game, Cross Game.
It's the story of a baseball team and the forbidden love between two of the players.
Forbidden
sort of.
love? It's not really forbidden at all.
One of them forbids it.
In the way that these sorts of shows work.
Yeah.
She's a bit of a tsundere, but not really. She's stuck in tsum, to be honest. She never quite daddies.
What is the real plot of Cross Game?
What is the real plot of Cross Game?
Mm-hmm.
Baseball.
Yeah, but it's Japanese high school baseball.
It is Japanese high school baseball. Our main character needs to play in the Koshien.
I mean, who doesn't?
But he has to because his dead girlfriend had a dream about him playing in the Koshien.
This is
So
true.
he's gotta do it.
There were prophecies made at the beginning of the show that must play out, right?
Basically.
Now, if you're unfamiliar with Japanese baseball, especially high school Japanese baseball and the Koshien,
Okay, so you know March Madness.
it's kind of like March Madness, but
It's
I would
basically
actually
March Madness, but high school baseball.
I would actually say it's probably more like a mashup of March Madness and the NCAA football playoffs.
Well, here's the thing. The NCAA football playoffs haven't really existed before.
I know, but
So it's more like March Madness, which
eh,
has existed for a long time.
it's like college football in the South. That's
I mean,
what high school baseball
or-
is in Japan.
Or March Madness in Indiana.
Uh,
I mean, I don't like March Madness. I hate basketball. But you can't argue that it didn't become the state religion for all of March during March Madness.
I cannot refute that fact. I live through it on a yearly basis, except this year.
I don't have to anymore because no one out here gives two shits about March Madness, and I love it.
Good for you. Good for you. But what did you think of Cross Game?
Well, I love Cross Game. It's one of my favorite shows.
Why is it one of your favorite shows?
Well, it's one of my favorite shows. It's really well written. The characters well rounded. They all make sense. It's a high school romance that feels real and legitimate.
Like with real characters instead of just tropes?
It has pathos, and it's got tragedy, and it's got baseball.
And ironically, there was some crying in baseball. Not too
Yeah,
much,
that's true.
just a little bit.
Not a whole lot. Just enough.
Just enough.
Just enough crying in baseball.
Mhm. Well, I guess they were never at the baseball when the crying occurred.
Yeah, it's very rare that they cried in baseball.
That's fair.
They cried around baseball.
Well, I liked Cross Game. I was hesitant. It's 50 episodes, but I'm
Is it 50
devoid.
or 52?
It's 50, and I'm devoid
Oh,
of baseball right now. And I said, why not? What have I got to lose other than doing something else in my house?
Yeah. Well, I didn't watch it because you can't legally watch it right now, and I just didn't want to download it. But I own all the manga, so I reread it in like half a day
Wow.
because it's Cross Game and it's very good.
Yeah, it took me like 2 weeks of watching 5 episodes a day, roughly.
Probably worth it though.
I liked it. I wouldn't give it a solid 10. I don't think it's my favorite, but I would
mean,
give
that's
it a very solid 9.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going for it, but it's not like the end all be all of anime-ness. It's just very, very good.
It does have one of the best. Is it a romance? There's a love story of sorts, but it's not really a romance.
Yeah, it's hard to call it a romance because no one's really romancing anyone else.
Well,
Yeah.
the main 2 characters are not. Other characters are a lot. Sometimes way too much. But there you go. Go watch Cross Game if you can get your hands on it.
Yeah, at least read it. You can, I mean, technically you can watch it for free because, like, man, who's judging you for illegally downloading something that you can't legally watch in the States anyway? So it's like
I do not
fart noise.
condone nor condemn your actions, whatever you do.
It's like you can't give money to the people you want to watch it from. So there's not much you can do about it.
I guess let's go into spoiler land and talk about the meat, the real meat, the nub of this story.
Sure, Wakaba dies.
Wakaba dies.
Wakaba dies. She dies hard.
Now, you had an interesting story about the death of Wakaba-chan and how it played out in the manga versus the show.
Well, in the show, they get all over with in one episode. This is not true in the manga. In the manga, it's a whole takuban before she dies. So I can only imagine watching it, reading it in real time, week after week, wondering where these little sixth graders are going, what with their baseballs, and reading, and then all of a sudden, boom, the secondary main character just up and dies on you.
Is she the secondary character?
Balls.
I feel like she's the Deus Machina in this show.
I mean, only because it's in the first episode, right? If it weren't for the first episode, it'd be different. But in the manga, their whole relationship takes place over, 8 chapters or something, rather than 130 minutes. So this also has the nice upshot of her not appearing as a ghostly after image every 2 minutes like she does in the show, because it has to constantly remind you how much Wakaba meant to Ko. They don't have to do that in the manga because you're right there with him. Because when she died in the manga, again, knowing it was coming, it may have been a really rainy day inside my house. I think it was really dusty, lots of pollen.
That does happen
this time of year.
Yeah. Probably explain who Wakaba is before just blurting out that she's dead.
No, Wakaba's dead. That's all you need to know. She's the most active dead character since Goku.
Truer facts, man.
Well, Wakaba. So the show is about Ko. What's his none?
Kitamura.
Kitamura. He doesn't care about baseball at the beginning, but he gets kind of roped into a baseball game. Oh, well, none of that matters. What matters is he was born on the same day in the same hospital as a girl who lives next door, who comes from a big family of 4 daughters.
Mm-hmm. That poor man.
That poor man who also doesn't have his wife anymore because she also died.
Now, I pause on that. Did she die before the show starts?
Yes.
Okay. Because I remember them mentioning later in the show that she has passed away, but I don't remember that being mentioned in the first episode. So
she was dead to begin with.
Okay. That was my side.
Well, either way, the start of the show is awfully complex, isn't it? It's a big old triangle of relationships.
We got a lot of relationships to build up in one episode.
There's no good way to explain it. Wakaba is one of 4 sisters. There's the oldest sister. There's Wakaba, and then there's her younger sister, Aoba, who will become very important later. And then there's the youngest sister, who doesn't matter a whole lot.
She matters as like the only voice of reason in an otherwise insane world.
And they own a batting shop, so it's a batting cage area.
Mm-hmm.
Ko's family owns a sports supply store. Ko is best friends with Wakaba, and they definitely are in labu because they basically grow up together. Classic childhood friends.
Yep.
Well,
the childhood friend does not win this time.
No, she does not. She goes away to swimming camp. There's a flash flood, and she ends up drowning.
She does save a little girl doing it, though.
She does save somebody else, but she ends up drowning. This is very bad for poor Ko, 6th grade boy.
This is bad for many people.
Many people.
And really, the rest of the show is just how are they dealing with this?
Yeah, basically.
In one way or another. We got some other people to mention, too. So you got Ko and Aoba, who are very close to Wakaba for obvious reasons. But you also got Akaishi, who's, I think, probably the 3rd most important person after episode 1.
I would say so, yeah.
He's the catcher.
He ends up being the team captain of the baseball team. But he is also he also had a crush on Wakaba.
Like hard crush. Even though he was kind of like a delinquent 6th grader.
Yeah, he definitely fits that type.
He gets better. He becomes a real bro.
He does.
So Wakaba dies. Everybody's hurting real bad.
Yep.
And then we flash forward to middle school. So there's a whole...
No, we don't.
Yep, don't we?
I mean, I guess we do a little bit. I guess we spend a little bit of time in 9th grade, but not a whole lot.
No, we do. Because that's when Akaishi and what's-his-face, Nakanishi, are sort of prepping Ko to join the high school baseball team.
Yeah.
I forget exactly how that works. But this is not really important. The important part is they eventually get to 9th grade.
They eventually get to 10th grade.
10th, 11th, 12th. Yeah, you're right.
Japanese high school. It's different.
So they eventually get to 10th grade. Now, at this point, Aoba, who was a star pitcher on the middle school team, can no longer play.
Huh? Well, she's a year younger, so she's not on the high school team yet, but the point stands.
Yeah. So she can't play with him anymore, even though she used to. And Ko has picked up a lot of pitching things from Aoba, mostly because Wakaba told him to.
Yeah. One of the first things. That and like just the thing that comes up a bunch in the manga. I don't know how often it comes up in the show. But Ko finds himself in a pickup game in 6th grade. And he's a really good hitter because he's always practiced over at the batting cages. He gets struck out by Aoba, and he's just like, wow, is it fun to pitch like that? And that's when he starts being interested about pitching like Aoba.
Well, it helps that Wakaba gave him her workout routine.
Yes, which he has done ever since Wakaba died.
Yeah, every single day. I think it's Akaishi who sees Ko throwing one day and realizes this kid's got talent. We need to get him on the high school team. So there's a convoluted thing going on where they train him up where no one can see him. So nobody knows that he's coming into high school as this amazing pitcher. Except when they get in there, they're on like the runt squad. They're not good enough to play with the big boys. And I have to say that this is probably my least favorite part of the show. The whole Coach Daimon arc.
I quite like the Coach Daimon arc. Why do you not like it?
I don't like it. And I mean, it may be different in the manga, but
sure.
The show does spend a good third of its runtime on this particular arc, which is fair. It's one of 3 arcs.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of, for everything else the show has going for it, this plot is very black and white simplistic. Like, that guy's obviously bad, fair. And he acts bad. He has no redeeming qualities. He's just an 80s manga bad guy.
Yeah, Daimon's dick.
Well, him and the replacement temporary principal, right?
Yeah.
Everybody else in this show has a complex personality, which I can get behind. But those two don't, and the whole plot revolves around them. So I didn't like that part.
Yeah, it's mostly because they're more of the overvillain. So yeah, they're kind of black and white. The sort of more down to earth complex villain of the Daimon arc is Azuma anyway. Yeah. So it's really an arc about Azuma rather than it is about Coach Daimon being awful.
It is, and I understand that we only get Azuma because Daimon was such an awful person. But it still rubbed me the wrong way. So
I mean, that's fair.
I mean, it obviously didn't take away from my enjoyment. It was just, I was glad when that was over. I'm like, oh, good. We don't have to deal with those kinds of characters anymore. I think there were 1 or 2, but I can't remember who they are, so they didn't impact me that much.
And they definitely do better in the sort of, in the basically 2 other Koshien arcs of having the sort of enemy coach be like actually a really nice guy.
Yeah, they're in it to win it. Not just,
but they're not.
I'm going to
like
do
evil.
Anything to win. I'm going to bring in ringers. I'm going to pay off people. I'm going to trample on other kids' dreams just to win or get a chance to go to Koshien.
I mean, the nice thing is they do a very good job of making you hate him, especially when he like overworks Aoba's pitching, using her just as like a pitching machine.
Yeah, that was pretty crappy.
Yeah,
did not enjoy watching that.
Yep. Nope. He's a garbage person.
Yep.
And I do like how in the last arc where they're setting you up and you're like, oh, they're going to have to face down Daimon again. It's like,
he's a non-entity.
He's a non-entity because he's terrible.
I mean, you knew what was going to happen the moment he said, we don't have to worry about our first round in this tournament because we're playing some no-name school. Like,
yeah.
Set a death flag there, son. You don't know how this works.
Sealed your fate.
I did like in the show, though. I don't know if they did this in manga, but in the show, like, they get defeated off screen. It's not even a thing.
Yeah, no, it's basically off screen.
Yeah, they there's like 1 or 2 things. You can see his face, but other than that, it's over there. You know what's going to happen. It's fine.
It probably is more involved in the manga because in the manga, so there's one other kid that's kind of a good guy on Daimon's team. I forget his name.
Oh, Niki.
Yeah, Niki. Niki is the captain of the baseball team that beats him. So they do play that out a little bit more.
I wish we had more Niki because we got Azuma And Nikki and Ozma had the same view of baseball, is they were in it for the love of the game itself.
Yep.
Now, for different reasons. One just wanted to have fun, and the other one just really appreciated it. Daimon just wanted to win at any cost. He didn't care about the game itself.
Well, and he didn't even care about winning. He just cared about the payday that came with being a winning coach.
Right. Ozma and Nikki in this first arc, when the kids are in the first year of high school, they just decide, well, Nikki doesn't want to play at all. I think he fakes an illness, and Ozma punches a...
Oh, that's very good. I love that. Like, are you hurt? It's like, no. Well, then you're going to play. Punch. I think I hurt my hand.
Nice.
It's very good.
That's a Chad move.
Sure is. Is it a Chaz move?
No, it's not.
No, that's fair.
He didn't take over the baseball diamond. But
they kind of did.
I don't know if you've mentioned it, but Ozma is the slugger for the team.
Oh, just absolute.
He was actually brought in as a ringer with Daimon. Like, he didn't go to this high school. He was brought in. And he opted to stay because he saw a lot of potential in Ko specifically, but also I think Akaishi and the other guys.
Yeah.
Because they were in it to have fun. I mean, they obviously wanted to win, but they didn't really care too much. Like, they didn't base their entire being on, are they going to win this game or not?
Yeah.
It's just, we go out there, we try hard, and if it happens, it happens.
And that's one of the nice things I really like about the show is, I mean, yeah, they're the protagonist team, so of course they win, and Ko's the pitcher, so of course he's really good. But he's really not shown as being infinitely better than every other pitcher on every other team they face. It's like all the other pitchers are basically equally as good.
Yeah. It's just he can pitch slightly faster than they can. And usually his control is lacking, except when it needs to not lack.
Man, basically.
And then after that, they all move up a grade. So Aoba's on the team, but because of the rules in Japan, and I cannot find out, I've looked for the past 2 days if it's still the case, but girls in Japan cannot play on the boys team in high school.
In official games. They
can obviously help out with practice. They can wear the uniform. They can be technically on the roster, but they can't be in the lineup, which kind of sucks. I was really hoping at some point Wakaba, her dream was Akaishi was a catcher, Ko was a pitcher. Now, Akaishi says that Aoba was also in the outfield, or maybe Ko says that.
Yeah.
And I had to take that on faith. So I assumed at one point one of the other players would make a big stink about how that's unfair and blah, blah, blah. And they changed the rules, but nope.
Be nice, but it is what it is. Aoba does get a bit more in the show than she does in the manga, because they lengthen out the arc of her maybe. So in the manga, it's that she might join the all-women's team, sort of national women's team of Japan. But in the show, it's more that she might transfer to a high school, an all-girl high school that has a really good women's baseball team.
That's not entirely accurate.
Oh, is it not?
Well, Cinda's cousin is the one that gets her interest initially, and she does go to an all-girl school, and they have a baseball team, and they want Aoba to transfer over there. She goes and plays like a game with them once, where they face girls from the national team. And I can't remember if they won or not, but they were really impressed with her pitching because she's an amazing pitcher.
Yeah, buddy.
And so they sort of pester her off and on until she'd be a junior at that point. And they tell her, you should come try out for the team. And they almost get her to go at least help out during the summer tryouts and summer practice. But that's during the tournament. So she turns them down.
Yeah.
Now, she may afterwards, she's got a whole year left in high school, she can still go do it. But they never mentioned her transferring or anything. It was just, if you go and join the national team, you'll have to leave high school.
Oh, sure.
Because that'll be your job.
They did. They lengthened that out in the anime versus the manga. In the manga, it's just one little chapter.
Yeah, they do lengthen it out, but they stretch it out and they put it in the background. So it's just sort of a lingering doubt of, well, is she gonna take them up on that? Because that seems like a good offer. But on the other hand, we all know that she has her reasons, Ko, to stay on. So.
Well, and it gives her a better chance where it's just do you want to play, or do you want to be the premier pitching coach for this team and the guy we all know you like. So.
Yeah. Which is good. You have the extra layer of character depth.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So they have two real big arcs, I think. One is when they first go up against the Ryo High School the first time, and then the second time is when they have to punch their own ticket to the Koshien their senior year, basically. As far as baseball goes, not a lot happens. It sort of plays out the way you expect, I think. But I think the two second arcs are really where the character drama plays a much bigger part. And there's tons of that.
The first half is a lot more baseball, and the back half is a lot more character drama. There is baseball in it, and it's very good baseball. The first half definitely is more baseball plot heavy, where the second half is far more relationship.
It's like up to episode 21-ish, it's mostly baseball. Baseball takes a back seat up until probably episode 40.
Yeah.
And then we don't get to see the Koshien at the end, which is... I don't know why all the shows do that. All the baseball shows do that. Ace of Diamond does it, this does it, Touch does it.
I think it works a lot for this show because the goal is never to win the Koshien. It's to be in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it works. I think it works to the show's benefit that it is not shown, because that game is at a certain point superfluous. It doesn't matter to anybody's character growth. The goal is getting there. It's very clearly established that that's the goal in this one. It's not to like be the best or be number one or be in the highest, just the best ever. It's to reach this milestone.
Yeah, and I guess when you put it that way, it's
game.
Like it's a thematic thing of they've reached this goal as a team, and Ko and Aoba have reached this thing as a couple, and then the future is superfluous, which is fine. But if you go back to, I don't remember when we were talking about it, probably a high score girl. Like I want to see some of that relationship after it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of the whole point of these shows is to just get them to admit their feelings. That is a milestone. I'll grant you that. It's a big one, but it's probably the easiest one of all the milestones you have as a couple.
I mean, that's fair, but I mean, these shows are for high school and college age kids.
I get it. I understand it. I just don't like it.
That's fair.
I mean, we talked about Ko a little bit. What about Aoba?
Aoba.
My girl Aoba.
She's a punchy girl.
She does like to punch.
She is rather acerbic.
Mm-hmm.
The only type of boy she'll like is one who can pitch a 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
Which she doesn't think Ko will ever do.
Yeah. She's also reportedly one of the cutest girls in her class.
The anime doesn't really show that, but I get it.
No. But it is reported. It is.
Tomboys are definitely a thing.
Do they do any of the Valentine's Day stuff in the show where she gets tons of chocolate from all the girls?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it was a throwaway line, but it was much appreciated.
Yeah. It's a little chapter in the manga, but yeah.
What I liked about the 100-mile-an-hour fastball thing is you know what's going to happen. Like the moment they say that she'll only go out with somebody who can pitch a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, you know what's going to happen.
He's going to do it.
He's going to
do the thing.
But I liked how, as we progressed through the show, he kept getting faster and faster and faster, which both worried her significantly, but also she kept hoping it would happen. Even before she started admitting things to herself, which I liked, because you were never really sure, is it because she likes him? Obviously, I mean, meta stuff. But is it because she likes him or because she's seeing her student reach all these new heights and she's sort of living through that? Right. It is both. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really good. It's really great. I really like their relationship as, a pitcher and a coach, because it really... Do they do the thing in the manga where he gets interviewed before a game and he tries very hard to explain that he's really only a good pitcher because of Aoba, and they just don't get it?
Yeah, they blow him off.
Yeah. And the manga, they don't so much blow him off, they just don't quite understand what he's trying to say.
Yeah, and he feels really bad because he even goes up to her afterwards and said, I tried really hard to get them to understand, but they just wouldn't listen. Well, she doesn't think a whole lot about that, at the moment. But later on, it really sinks in. She and Ko are so much alike.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the big things of the show, right?
Everyone points it out.
Wakaba noticed it ages ago.
She did. Now, do you think Wakaba thought seriously that Aoba was going to try and steal Ko away from her?
No, never.
Never? She had that confidence? Or did she foresee her own demise?
No.
No.
I think she would be happy with Ko and Aoba, but no. She always wanted them to get along, but if Wakaba had lived, Ko Waka forever. 5 ever.
Let's see. We should probably give some love to some of these other characters. But Akaishi. Like, he's definitely a bro.
Well, we can't talk about Bro Akaishi without talking about the vile usurper that comes in the back half.
Which vile usurper? Akane
Well,
or
in
the
the back
cousin?
half of the show?
Freaking Akane, man.
Akane. The will co won't co with Akage.
I wasn't a fan.
Really? I thought I liked it. It's a good curveball.
I initially liked it. I thought, wow, this is really going to throw them for a loop. And it does, because she looks so much like Wakaba. But to make her literally Wakaba incarnate is a bit much, I thought.
It's not as bad in the manga, I don't feel. Part of it's because it's not animated. And also they just do a good job of, like, when he goes out on he's like not really tricked. Akaishi is such a bro that he's like, he tries to set up Akane and Ko. So he ends up kind of on a date, and they go around her old hometown because she moves in next to Ko and the others halfway through the show. And, she's a spitting image for Wakaba. And one of the things is that, Ko goes on a date with her back to her hometown, or her home part of Tokyo, and just how different everything is from where they grew up. He grew up.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the really interesting things, where it's just like she's very similar, but she is definitely not Wakaba.
Well, yeah,
he makes a big point.
The show does make a big point. Like, all the other characters start saying later on, they start talking about how, once she looked at the pictures of Wakaba and Ko in the photo album from back when they were kids, she could really understand Wakaba, and she would say things like Wakaba would, and on and on and on. I'm like, yeah, but the thing is she isn't Wakaba.
Yeah.
And that's the point, right? That's the thing that Ko has, not just Ko, like everybody has to come to grips with. She looks like her, but she isn't her. And I thought that at least the show sort of faltered on that. And they started making her out to be, she's basically Wakaba. She's been inhabited by her spirit or blessed by her or something.
Yeah. I mean, they do a little bit of that in manga, but not much. Mostly just like, I know they would say things like, I know Akane is not Wakaba, but every once in a while she says something that, man, is right out of Wakaba's playbook. And that's a lot more.
See, that's more
reasonable
tolerable.
and real feeling.
Yeah. Like every once in a while, but it was pretty much every episode she would do something and someone would comment on it.
Again, I think this is an artifact of, they had to really remind you about Wakaba a lot more in the show because they didn't give her much time in the beginning. I mean, they give a whole recap episode of, remember that sad thing about Wakaba right before they introduce Akane, just in case you might have forgotten about Wakaba. Again,
even though we bring her up every single episode.
Because if they had been meaner for the show, they would have done like 6 episodes of the sort of prequel arc just to get you.
And they would have. They absolutely would have.
Get you there right in the old Kokoro.
What about Ozma? He's obviously
I like Azuma a lot.
He has probably the most complex character arc, but we don't really see it because it's usually happening off screen.
Well, and one of the nice things about all the characters is how subtle they all are. None of them just, say what they're feeling. That makes me feel angry. Everybody's a lot more real in that they just don't go around pontificating all their feelings to everyone.
Yeah.
But basically, Azuma starts out really, really, really wanting to go to the Koshien. We find out later it's because of his brother, who was a great baseball player.
Junpei.
At one point, Junpei, who got injured and couldn't be in the Koshien. So,
he starts
Azuma
out
takes it up upon himself.
He starts out
as a real dick.
I mean, the show portrays him as being the jerk face, but as he speaks and you see him acting with the other characters, you realize, wait a minute. Maybe he's not a jerk. Maybe I just pegged him wrong because he has a mean face. And then it turns out, he's just really serious all the time.
Yeah, he's really serious. He is, at the start, he is a little too competitive, where he's just like, I don't remember anybody who's not important or good at baseball.
Yeah.
Like, okay, tone it down a little bit. And then throughout the show, he does tone it down a little bit.
Well, and you learned that, I think this is the case. We learned that he's only in baseball because Junpei hurt himself and couldn't go to Koshien. And Ozma feels like it's his duty to get there instead. So all he cares about at the first of the show is to play baseball, to get to Koshien. That's it. I'll do anything. But then he sees Daimon and he realizes, if I keep this crap up, I'm going to end up like that dude.
Between that and Junpei falling in love with Aoba's oldest sister,
which goes on the entire show.
I like it.
I like her.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
Like, she knows what she wants, but she's not going to let Junpei have it.
Oh, no, not at all. Well, it's because Junpei's kind of a dink at the beginning, so...
I don't think he stops being a dink.
Yeah, but she plays him all he's worth, which is good. She makes him work for it.
Oh, yeah. One character I didn't care too much for is Cinda, but that's fine because none of the other characters like him either.
I mean, Cinda is comic relief.
He's comic relief, and he's also, you need a character to be sort of the chaos element. You need a Puck, basically.
Yeah.
And he's Puck. I forget what the secret was. It was that when Akane moves in, everyone is too shy to mention that she is the spitting image of this dead girl from back in the day. Because she doesn't want her to feel bad. And he just walks in and he's like, man, you really do look like that dead girl from back in the day. I can't believe everyone. Why y'all looking at me like that?
Yeah. It is good, though.
Like, well, someone had to say it at some point, and I hate that you did it, but someone had to do it. So might as well be you. One character I didn't think needed to be in the show at all was the cousin.
Yeah, so even in the manga, I'm not quite sure what his deal is. I think it's one of those things where, like, the mangaka didn't quite know where he wanted to go yet, so he's just like, I'll introduce a chaos element. And then he was like, I don't really need this at all. So he just, because he slowly fades out of both the manga and the show, where he just kind of fades away.
I don't know why he didn't just get rid of him. Like, if that is the case, and I think it is, that this cousin comes back from the mountains or whatever. He's Aoba's cousin. And he's like, I profess my true undying love to you, Aoba. And she wants nothing to do with him.
Yeah, because first cousins can get married in Japan, turns out, as he reminds everyone.
Multiple times.
Frequently.
This is the second arc of the show. Is it the second arc? Could be the first.
Basically. It happens mostly during the second arc.
It's in the middle somewhere. And you think, okay, this is going to be that love triangle that we're setting up. But then it doesn't happen. Akane comes in instead.
Yeah.
That's the real trouble now. But instead of having the kid go, well, my time here's up. It's been past my freshman year. I'm going to go back to wherever it is I came from. See you guys later. We keep having to cut back to him and see his sad attempts of trying to get Aoba's attention. And it never works.
To be fair, it's a little bit of Schadenfreude because, he needs to get kind of punched in the face, especially so like when he first shows up, he does a big splash. And like, man, this guy's a jerk. I hope he gets what's coming to him. And the perpetual cold shoulder from Aoba is pretty legit.
I mean, I don't fault her for that at all.
Feels good every time she does it.
Okay, well, that's fair. I don't like that he's there at all.
Yeah, again, I think it's like the mangaka didn't quite know where he was going quite yet. So
yeah,
he was like
the thing with Akane, with Ko, and Azuma with Aoba, like those felt legitimate. Like they could have gone somewhere. Mm-hmm, and then ultimately they didn't for obvious reasons.
Because everybody slowly realizes, wait, both Aoba and Ko are like crazy for each other. Neither of them really admit it.
I think everybody knows that all the time. Akane takes her a bit, like maybe after 2 dates. She realizes you two are perfect for each other. I don't know why you keep hanging around me, but we'll see how this train goes. Now, Azuma, on the other hand, that guy, I said Akaishi was a bro. Azuma is a bro.
He's a good guy. They're all good guys. They're all such good guys.
What he does in I don't remember if it's the last episode or next to last episode, but dang, man. He tells Ko, even though he's been going out with Aoba, he tells Ko, if we win this game, you're going to go give her a hug. You're going to hold her tight in your arms. I don't want to hear any complaints about it. basically, I give up. White flagging it. That's a bro move in and of itself. But then later,
Yeah, it is.
He goes with Nakaishi and Akaishi to go visit Akane in the hospital, and they give flowers to Akaishi and say, "Here, you walk in there first. We'll be right behind you, so you can give her the flowers." And he and Nakanishi like bugger off.
Yeah. Everybody ends up with who they're supposed to.
And he even Nakanishi even tells him, "Dude, if you keep this up, if you keep like getting all your great guy friends, girlfriends, like you're gonna be a lonely man." And he says, "Well, at least I have great guy friends." Yeah. Like, bro.
And baseball. He winds up with baseball. His one true love.
It's true. He finally learns to love the game. Now, one thing I thought was going to happen, which didn't.
Sure.
Was pretty sure, but I couldn't see the mangaka doing it, but I was pretty sure that when Akane got sick with whatever she had, her mystery illness.
She has a fatal case of Tiny Tim syndrome.
Yeah. That all death flags were there for her to die. All of them. Because every single baseball show I have watched is you have a scrappy group of dudes and you've got one or two girl characters that are like a manager or some sort of support staff for the baseball team. And they're like the unofficial mascot. And one of them is always sick.
Always.
One
Never
of them
fails.
is always in the hospital, and they play to raise her spirits. And then halfway through the show, she takes a turn and she's gone. And then they win to pay respects. They got to get one more for the Gipper, I guess.
Basically.
So I was pretty damn sure that she was going to get it. So I was pleasantly surprised when.
But she doesn't get got.
She does not get got, which is good.
I mean, they kind of do that trope a little bit because one of the reasons everybody tries so hard on their baseball team is because Aoba is on the baseball team and she really wants to be playing baseball. And all of them are just like, if you're frustrated about how you're doing, just remember there's somebody here who's way more upset than you are. And it's the one person who's not allowed to play. And they're like, then I have to be good. I have to earn my spot on the team.
Yeah, you do.
I have to prove that I'm at least like good as good as Aoba, that I belong here.
Which is nice because she never complains about it.
Yeah, no.
I mean, we could keep talking about this forever. I do want to mention one thing that I could not help but notice throughout this show. And it's probably the reason why this show is so good. And you sort of hinted at it earlier. It's that this show makes expert use of blank face.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody has expressions, usually. Like, if somebody says something meaningful and then walks away, the other one will look after them with just a neutral expression on their face with no internal monologue. It's up to the audience to sit there and go, what is he thinking? I think I know what he should be thinking, but is he really? I don't know. Like, so you've got that tension and that mystery that continuously plays out, keeps you hooked. Like, that's the way to do drama.
Yeah, no, it's true. Even in the manga, there's like it's a limited third person perspective for almost all of it. You get no one's like internal thoughts like at all.
Which is good. I don't know why anyone would think I need a drama show in an anime and I'm going to have internal monologuing. Unless if you're always telling it from one person's perspective, okay, that would work. But if you're doing it from multiple, it just gets frustrating.
Well, there's something to be said for dramatic irony, and dramatic irony is important.
And a comedy,
the way you establish dramatic irony is you know what all the characters are thinking when they don't. So there's a place for it. But one of the things that makes this show work very well is that it doesn't use dramatic irony.
No, it uses, you have to read the situation, the historical context for what's going on, your knowledge of the characters, and what is happening right now. Like you are now a participant in the show.
Yeah.
And I wish more shows did that. It's a masterclass in how to animate emotion without animating anything.
Mm-hmm.
So take note, people, even though it's been 10 years since this came out.
I know, right? It's old.
Well, it's not as old as like Touch. Touch came out in like the 80s.
Well, I mean, he did Touch first. But I will say it's hard to read any of his other works because the mangaka has a nasty case of same face. So
I did notice that. I went to look up his Touch the other day. I'm like, oh, is this just a prequel? Because that's Ko.
Yeah,
oh wait, no, it's a totally different dude.
It's a well-known problem to the point where people have asked him to identify his own characters,
and he doesn't
and
know.
He cannot do it. It's a known issue.
Fair, as long as he knows. So yeah, go watch Cross Game. I mean, you've got time.
Or read it.
Or read it, watch it, whatever. It's baseball. What are you going to do?
Good.
Watch real baseball? I don't think so.
You can't. Not happening.
Unless you're listening to this in the far future, which I hope are still around then.
Yeah, no, we've all been taken over by the Chaz. You may be living in the United States of Chaz by the end of this. Hell, you might be listening to you may be listening to this in the United States of Chaz on Monday when we release this.
This is a true fact.
Who knows?
Who knows? Anything goes. Well, what are we going to watch for next time?
I think we're going to watch the Hornets take over the Chaz.
That would be something else. But I thought the Hornets were on the other side of the border.
The Murder Hornets?
Yeah.
No.
I thought they were in Canada.
No, they're here. But their presence was greatly exaggerated by the mainstream press.
As you do. We just needed something else to be terrified about.
They have found like 3. They're not terribly worried about it. They just want to keep they just want to make sure.
Well, if you want to, we could probably watch the first season of Tower of God for next time. It's probably the only good show out this season. I'll be wrapping up.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I can do that.
Cool. It's based on a Korean manga that was published on the web for a long time.
Oh, really? Korean?
Yep.
But it's a Japanese show?
Yep.
Is this going to end up like Korean Boys Over Flowers? I hope not.
No. Not at all. It is the opposite of that.
Have you seen Korean Boys Over Flowers?
I have not, but I've seen screen caps. I've heard tales.
Is bananas. It is absolute bananas.
Well, this show is bananas, but I don't think it's the same kind of bananas.
Not the same kind of bananas.
No.
Fair enough. Speaking of bananas, I did watch Gurren Lagann. So.
Yeah. Okay.
He's got looks like a banana.
Yeah, I remember. Thanks. I'd scrubbed that from my mind.
Yeah.
All right. See you next time.
All right. Bye forever.